Hey everyone, welcome to Public Land Hunters. It's the beginning of April and right now is the prime time to be out doing some scouting. Got this tree right here in the background. I actually shot a doe last year out of this tree, and if you're out doing some walking around and you remember from last year that this branch was in the way or you had something that needed to be adjusted and you plan on hunting that same tree this year, get out there, do it while it's wet out. The deer ain't gonna be bothered come another 4 months from now when you're sitting up in your stand. So my advice to you, get out right now during April, get your stands prepped now that you're gonna be hunting come September. You're not gonna mess up anything coming out here in April right now, making some adjustments that you know need to be made. That way when it comes time to put that big buck down, everything's exactly how it needs to be. You're not messing around the week before, the day before, and you're not screwing up your hot spots. Another great thing about coming out early season scouting around, it ain't hot out, there's no bugs, and you can see all these trails from wintertime where the deer were coming through, and some of these trails are the exact same ones they're going to be using this summer come September. Oh, there goes one right there. I don't know if you've seen that or not. Well, that's pretty neat. I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I just kicked up a deer, probably about 50 yards away. And like I said, that's why you need to be out here. You gotta be doing some scouting early season. That way when you come out here September time, you're not messing up these spots. You already know what you're doing. Let everybody else make the mistakes. Let them bring the deer to you and get yourself on a big buck this year. Let's go check out and see where that deer was bedded. Alright, this looks like where I kicked up that deer, whether it was a doe or a buck. It's hard to say, it's April. But this is about the only dry spot I found out here. Everywhere else you go, it's real wet. It's pretty hard for these deer to find a dry spot right now in April. Everything's melting, and it almost makes it a little bit simpler, easier for you to get out here, walk around, and actually find where these deer are bedded right now, because they can only be in so many spots. But yeah, the great thing about this time of year is the deer trails are really well defined. It's pretty easy to follow them. You can get out here, it's easy walking, and you can find right where those deer are bedded down. Alright, that was a pretty well defined trail coming right in here, and as I suspected, this kind of lonesome tree out here on the tip of this point, you got some nice fresh poo in here. And it's that bigger clumped up stuff that seems to me, typically seems to be a bigger buck's poo droppings, and you can see his escape route jetting right out through there, through the cattails. He's got another one right here jetting out that way. So we're gonna go ahead and follow this one out. Off in the distance you can see a little clump of trees. That's where my brother normally sets up out there, so we're gonna see what we got for deer sign out there. Alright, definitely seems like that probably was a buck's bed back there. I'm still following one of his escape routes, and you know, we're coming up on some fairly fresh broken twigs. They're all nibbled on, chewed on there, you can see. Got some nice rubs here on his escape route, and they aren't on big trees because there's no big trees out here. This is just wide open marsh for the most part. That's all he's got to rub on them, and you can even see they're on this side of the tree too. He's coming out from that bed behind me. He's walking right here. He's rubbing. He's going that way. Or he's going this way. So he's got a couple different routes he likes going on. So same thing we got here. Only about 15 yards from where that big buck poo droppings were. We got some rubs on the trees here. Looks like it's really matted down right here on the back side. can see it's pretty flat. Looks like he's been laying down in there as well. Nice dry spot to lay down on. Alright, I've talked about this a little bit before in some of my other videos. You want to keep an eye out for some human sign, other bow hunters. And right there, that is other bow hunter sign that somebody's been out here earlier this year, probably, just maybe last week. Chopped some pretty big branches off this tree. It's kind of a big no-no. One, you're letting other people know that you're out here, and two, it's not really legal to do. It's one thing to chop off something the size of your finger, your pinky or your thumb or something, but when they're live branches on the tree, you can see this person's actually been out here previous years. They've done some tree trimming. Like I said, you're letting other people know that you're going to be out here, and you know, not that I'm going to do something like that, but you might have the DNR out here because somebody ratted you out because you're trimming all these branches out here. I've seen it happen. So just keep in mind when you're getting ready to set up a new set, don't be trimming off gigantic branches off the tree. It's kind of frowned upon a little bit. Saying before, some of these trails right now are just beat down. They're real easy to follow. You can get out here and see what the deer are doing and where they're going. Another deer here. Find some rubs. Lots of deer poo. Well, that's pretty neat. I've only been out here for about an hour. The very first 10 minutes of doing some scouting, I kicked up a doe, and then we just had 4 deer across this bay out here. And the reason I'm getting this footage, I climbed up in a tree about 12 foot, and I can see out across. We got 2 more deer going across the bay out here, and 2 other ones. I didn't quite have the camera in focus. They went across earlier. Well, it's good to know that some deer have made it through the gun season. So that's 5 deer I've seen out here today in probably just an hour of scouting. But yeah, climbing up in these trees, you got to be careful. You don't want to go too high up. Like I said, I'm about 12 feet off right now, and it gives you a really good perspective of the area you're in. I can see pretty much everything from just getting 10-12 feet up in a tree. I can see all the trees that might potentially be a good spot to put a stand in. I've scouted this area in the past before. I know most of the spots, but I use this technique in a lot of the marsh areas that I go out in. I'll climb up a tree 10, 12, 14, 15 feet, and I'll look around and I'll see where the high areas are. Sometimes I can see the deer trails where it looks like they're going to be cutting through, and I can pick out what trees I think are going to be some good ones to set up in. Most importantly is your entry and exit route. You're going to want to use Google Earth with that, and you can see what the best route is to get into your tree stand undetected, and your exit route is very important if you plan on coming back to that area in another week or 2 after that. If you get in nice and quietly, but you come out and you're busting branches and you're scaring every deer in there, well, that spot's boogered up for a good week or 2. So it's really important to have a good exit and entry route coming into your stand.